Take a look at this picture. What feeling does it invoke? Does it make you uncomfortable? If so, you would be in the majority. Most likely, however, you are not able to pinpoint exactly why you feel this way. This image is the most famous image relating to the backrooms, an internet aesthetic which revolves around the idea that in rare cases one can go out of bounds of reality and will end up in the so-called backrooms. The images attached to the backrooms are known to depict impossible places that make the viewer uncomfortable. The eerie and unpleasant nature of these images ties back into the uncanny valley effect. This occurs whenever we are presented with things that violate our expectation. Whenever, for example, a place shows inconsistent features and defies all categories that we are used to, it becomes really hard for us to understand what we are presented with. Now, what do computer-generated places like the backrooms have in common with places such as an empty underground station, mall, or airport? They are liminal spaces. But what is that, a liminal space? The word liminal comes from the Latin word limen, meaning threshold. It refers to a shift from one phase to another, a threshold state. It can apply to time when talking about periods, like the time after graduating high school, or the time between being a teenager and an adult. Liminal spaces are usually throughways from one space to the next. Their tendency to eliminate formal structures that give humans a means to understand a setting or phenomenon leads to a dreamlike atmosphere. Surreal lighting and impossible structures, as well as over or under-stimulating textures and colors, are common amongst liminal spaces. When observing these spaces, we may feel as though we are confronted with an interior which is simply an exterior folded inwards. It is important to note that often these liminal spaces are either taken entirely out of their context or put into a wrong context. This abandonment of the framework we use to assess our surroundings is what makes these spaces feel so eerie and unsettling. One thing all liminal spaces are characterized by is that they are deprived of human presence, yet always man-made. Let's take a look at this virtual space. What can we change to make it appear liminal? Let's start by taking away the windows. That way we can remove any non-man-made object from the scenery. This also takes the curtains out of their intended context, which already feels off. In this phase, we take away lots of details like the pinboard and the teddy, and we also simplify the furniture. Because the appearance of the lamp has now been changed to something we don't immediately recognize to be a lamp, the way the room is lit defies our understanding of lighting. Now with this last change, we simply exaggerate the proportions of our objects, which leads to the disorientation of the viewer. And with that, we've created our own liminal space. Do you feel uncomfortable yet?